putting the vice president in charge of solving this problem, I don't know, it's like making El Chapo the drug czar.
Joining me today is Senator John Kennedy. He has a couple of things to talk about today, including his recent trip to the U.S. southern border. Senator Kennedy, thank you so much for joining me. Let's start there. What can you tell us about what's going on at the southern border?
Of course, President Biden says we can't call it a crisis. How about a Category 5 hurricane? I'm not sure there are words in English. It's thousands and thousands of people flooding in. The border with Mexico is about 1,900 miles. We were only in about 50 miles of it in that area. The night and day we were there, about 3,000 people came into our country. They're in our country right now, in the interior of our country. At the rate President Biden is allowing people in, it'll probably be 1 million, 1.5 million, maybe 2 million. It's not really a mystery what's going on. President Biden inherited the most secure border in my lifetime. In the past 4 years, the Trump administration and the Republican Congress, despite President then candidate Biden and my Democratic friends calling us racist, we secured the border through programs like Safe Third Country agreements, Remain in Mexico program, the wall. And President Biden on his first day, through executive order, just undid everything we had done. And on top of it, he also issued a moratorium on deportations. One need not be clairvoyant to see what was going to happen. And you know, you have to watch what politicians do, not what they say. I think one or two things are going on here. Either President Biden believes in open borders, or the people that he has put in charge of his immigration policies, they may be smart, but they've got no sense. I mean, these people don't have the sense God gave a goose. If they think this is working, all they've got to do is go take a look. And I bet you I talked to between 25 or 50 to 50 Border Patrol agents. Every one of them said the same thing. The way to fix this is to go back to what we were doing in December. So that's why I say it's not a mystery. It's not complicated. I'm of the opinion that I've learned the hard way in Washington, D.C. There are two things. Number one, everybody who smiles at you is not your friend in Washington. And number two, you have to watch what people up there do, not what they say. And I think by his actions, it's pretty clear President Biden believes in open borders. And it would be a lot more intellectually honest if he just looked the American people in the eye and said in front of God and country, I believe in open borders. I don't think there ought to be a distinction between legal and illegal immigration. I think he's wrong, and I don't think the American people will agree with him. Now, he's tried to keep it quiet by blocking the press. The press is not allowed into the detention facilities. 19 senators, myself among them, they had to let us in. We took photographs and videos. Some of President Biden's aides from Washington told us we couldn't, but we did it anyway.
And you just brought up you and other senators going into these facilities, trying to take pictures. We've all seen by now that video of Senator Cruz, who was also there with you, and this, alleged Biden staffer trying to block him from actually videotaping what was going on. Mm-hmm. Did you have a similar experience like that?
Yes.
And can you comment?
Yes, I talked to the young lady. I asked her where she was from. She said Washington, D.C. She was sent down there. And I think she went to every single senator and said, you can't do that. And every single senator said, no disrespect, but, call somebody who cares about your opinion. We're a separate branch of government, and the American people need to see this. The conditions in which the Biden administration are holding these folks are terrible. There was one facility we toured that I think, given the COVID rules, ought to be holding about I don't know, 500, 600 people. It was holding well into the thousands. You got these kids packed into cages, people packed into cages, and most of them are being allowed into the United States. I mean, this is uh, during this fiscal year, people from 55 different countries have come into the United States. So it's not just limited to Central America and Mexico. This is dangerous. We don't know who these folks are. It's expensive. Most of these folks will join welfare and social programs. It's not smart economically. Illegal immigration puts downward pressure on wages, and it's unreservedly in violation of the rule of law. I mean, why we have a legal immigration system? We welcome 1 million of our world's neighbors every year to become Americans through our legal immigration system. Why would you want to follow the rules if all you got to do is make it to Mexico, pay one of the smugglers $3,000 or $4,000, and come in illegally? It's if it weren't for double standards in Washington, we wouldn't have any standards at all.
You posted this video of you standing in front of a migrant facility, and you said in the video that
we need an immigration system that looks like somebody designed it on purpose. And this is not that.
In your opinion, what does that look like? And is that possible under the Biden administration?
Well, number one, we need to go back to the policies that we have had in December. For example, the Remain in Mexico program. You can, if you say you're seeking refugee status, we will hear your claim, but you have to remain in Mexico while we hear it. Number two, we have to finish the wall. Number three, we've got to stop, catch, and release. Number four, the answer is not, as I think the Biden administration will pursue. They're going to want to give billions of dollars to the Central American countries, El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala. The argument that they're going to make is we need to help the people there so they don't want to leave. Those countries are run by authoritarian governments. They are corrupt. They'll steal our money. That makes no sense. Every Border Patrol agent I talked to said, as long as you practice catch and release, you're going to have this problem.
I want to get your thoughts on Vice President Kamala Harris now being in charge of addressing the root causes of what's going on with the southern border in crisis. Tom Homan, who's the former ICE director under President Trump, said that Kamala Harris, is not the right person to do this, formally referred to ICE as the Ku Klux Klan. What are your thoughts on her holding this position?
Well, I know the vice president. We served together in the United States Senate. We sat on the Judiciary Committee together. I have great respect for her. But we have sharp disagreement on immigration. Putting the vice president in charge of solving this problem, I don't know. It's like making El Chapo the drug czar. I mean, Kamala believes in open borders. I can tell you, and she has on a number of occasions, as you pointed out, been very critical of the Border Patrol. And the mantra from my Democratic colleagues and from then candidate Biden for the last 4 years has been, if you believe in enforcing America's immigration laws and you believe in vetting people at the border, you're a racist. I don't think you're a racist. I think you're being prudent. Every other country in the world vets people before they come into their countries. And the United States needs to do the same thing. The American people are very pro-immigration. That's why we welcome about 1 million people a year legally to become Americans. But illegal immigration is illegal. Duh. And the Biden administration makes no distinction, none whatsoever. And they will deny that. But again, you have to watch what people do, not what they say. And I think it would be a lot more intellectually honest of the president and the vice president if they just looked the American people in the eye in front of God and country and said, hey, I know we didn't tell you this in the campaign, but we believe in open borders. We don't think there ought to be a difference between legal and illegal immigration. I think they're dead wrong, and I don't think the American people will support it, but I do think that's their position.
If they were to come out and say that, I mean, Joe Biden in his speech last Thursday said that he is planning to run for re-election in 2024, is coming out and saying that, in your opinion, them being honest with the fact that they do support open borders, is that, political suicide, or is that something politically motivated that could actually help them down the road?
Well, I don't think the American people will support it. I think that's and I think that even though the president and vice president haven't gone down there, I wish they would. Even though they haven't gone down there, they know this is going on. They know the American people won't like it. I think that's why they have blocked the press. But let me say it again. I think most Americans support legal immigration, but they believe illegal immigration is illegal. And I think based on what the president and the vice president are doing, they clearly believe in open borders. And I think that's just a huge mistake. I think it's bad for the people. It's bad for the American people, bad for the people coming in. It's dangerous. It's nonsense on a stick. But here's where we are.
As you just mentioned, President Biden nor Vice President Harris have been to the border yet. If this were President Trump, if this crisis was happening under President Trump and he or former Vice President Pence hadn't been to the border yet, what do you think the media response would be?
Well, I think the media would be all over them, justifiably. This really is a crisis. If it's not a crisis, it'll do till one gets here. Now, I listened to President Biden's press conference the other day, and he said, well, we're trying to turn some of the people back, but Mexico won't cooperate. We had that problem in the past 4 years, and President Biden needs to do what President Trump did. He just told the president of Mexico, I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse. If you don't cooperate with us on immigration, I'm going to slap tariffs. You can't do business with us if you won't cooperate with us on immigration. So and it worked. It worked, and I don't know why President Biden hasn't done that. So sometimes you just have to be strong, and you just have to be tough. Other countries will take advantage of America. And we've got a real problem here, and it can be solved. This problem can be solved in 1 week. Ask any border agent. Just go down there and get the handbook of Border Patrol agents and just close your eyes and pick one out at random and ask them. And I guarantee you what they're going to tell you. Yeah, we can fix this in a week. All you got to do is go back to doing what we were doing in December. And by the way, finish the wall.
Senator Kennedy, I so appreciate you joining me today to speak about your trip to the southern border. And of course, I'd love to have you back on in the future for any updates about immigration as well as what's happening in Washington, D.C. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.